So we finished our small axe, hatchet, drift, whatever you want to call it, pretty much for small eyes in hatchet-like things. So we heat treated this. I did an oil quench on it, got it above magnetic a little bit, did a heat treat, and then put it in the oven, tempered it at 400 degrees for an hour and a half based on the size of it. I actually had to look this one up. I had a guess that I think it was Celador, thought it was either S7 or S5 steel, and it is an air hardening steel from what I could read on it, or you can quench the smaller stuff. So we decided to quench it, see how it would do. Now it's not perfect, obviously. I have some hammer marks, things like that. I'm still learning. I have a long ways to go before we really start making this stuff beautiful. I have to learn what sizes of metals I need to make particular items, things like that. But being as how we are timber framing, log building, woodworking type channel, or have been up until the finishing of the timber frame, going along with that theme, like I've said from pretty well the beginning, the plan here is to make log building and timber framing tools. So what I'm trying my hand at right now, I'll give you guys a close-up of the, so that's the hole that we drifted in there with this, with the axe drift. It actually came out pretty decently. I'm pretty happy with that, especially for my first ever drift. I will take it. The drift seemed to hold up well. I don't have any hammer marks in it. Now, I have a quite ghetto, if I could find it over here behind me, a very ghetto punch I made to start the initial hole. Not much really fancy. I got the idea from a British fella, blacksmithing channel. It wasn't Joshua Delisle, although I love that guy. You guys should check him out. He's awesome. All I did, this is out of 1080 steel because I have a ton of 1080 steel. It's all those cutting edges off the snowplows I get from the DOT buildings around here. They go to throw them in their scrap dumpster, and if you get some of the town ones, a lot of times those guys will set them aside for me, and then once in a while, as I'm going through on my service calls, I'll just grab a few of them here and there. And that's 5/8 thick steel. It's a lot of working to get it down to something like this. But so anyway, this is about an inch wide. I didn't even measure it. I just wanted to get the hole started in, but it seemed to work really well. I went real thin so we weren't moving a lot of material. I had saved the slug that I got out of this thing. I left it sitting on the anvil, and I have a habit of brushing the scale off the anvil because otherwise it gets into your work quite a bit. You get a lot of marks from it. So it's somewhere here on the floor, but the slug is paper thin. It actually looked like a piece of scale. And that's from what I was seeing on the one guy's videos. I'll find his channel and I will throw it in the description below. But he recommended doing it with something thin like that. I believe he used a piece of 5160 leaf spring to make his. But this worked really well. I don't even have any hammer marks on the top of it. I forged this out quick, kind of ground it flat on a couple of sides, put a decent point on it, you know, not razor sharp, but decent point. It's a hot work chisel. Heat treated it, tempered it, beautiful, worked very well. Now, granted, I wasn't punching through a huge axe or anything like that, but what I'm trying my hand out right now is a bowl maker's adze. We'll see how that goes for us. It's not really a simple project, but it's simple enough for me, for what I'm doing. And so basically what we're gonna do, we're gonna forge weld a piece of 1080 steel on here. Once we get this kind of spread out more, that'll be our cutting edge. So what my plan is here in the tools that I make, I'm kind of wanting to go old school the way they used to make them. It'd either be the iron or the mild steel bodies of the tools with a piece of tool steel forge welded in. I've used the modern stuff and I've used the older stuff, and some of the older stuff just has a pretty cool feel to it when you're using it, and that's what we're going for. So what we're going to need to do with this guy, obviously we'll have to draw the cheeks out here and the eye, things like that. It has a long ways to go. And I'm finding when I'm forging stuff, it looks like a dog churd. you know, right up until you start getting the shape you want to get, and then you start refining your hammer blows on it. That rounding hammer from B&B Forge makes that so much easier for me to do that. But anyway, I know I'm kind of rambling on, but I just wanted to show you guys how this thing works, the shape it leaves us. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you're new, like and subscribe, all that good stuff, and you better. Otherwise, I got a giant butter knife here, and I don't know what the hell I do with it, but I have one. So anyway, have a good night, everybody, and I'll see you on the next one.